Never mind. I give up. So I feel like that's the major one of the challenges and reality of my soul that's not from your tribe. Okay. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome and welcome. And for my returning subscribers, you guys know I love you already. Thanks for always coming back. Okay. And my name is Olabisi and welcome to Tiana's World. Welcome back again. Today I'm going to be telling you guys about my reality and slash challenges of being in an intra-tribal marriage. Intra-tribal marriage means a marriage that involves two people of different tribes. Okay, so I'm Yoruba and my husband is Urobo Delta State and I'm from Ekiti State. So my challenges and the reality of it is I'm going to just be I'm going to like put them in numbers so it can be straightforward. So number one is that when it comes to communication, sometimes like there's some things that I might just go on social media and I see a joke in Yoruba or something that is funny in Yoruba, and then I want to share this joke with my husband, and I'm like, oh, hey husband, see this joke, and he doesn't understand, and I'm like, oh, what I try to say is that they say this boy is and my husband doesn't find it funny because the subtitle process has changed the joke, that's made it boring literally. So the process of trying to interpret or translate Yoruba to him like in English it can be very, very, like, especially when it comes to things I want him to just grab salad, and at times even there's something that actually in Yoruba and I didn't even know how to say it in English as well. So I'm like, how did you say this in English? Like you see me as confused as I'm like, you know what, just let it go, never mind. I give up. So I feel like that's the major one of the challenges and reality of my son that's not from the tribe. Number two is the fact that we have two kids, right? Two wonderful girls. Okay, so when it comes to what language are we going to speak to these children, I'm like, okay, so I didn't go to learn Urobo and Yoruba or they should just speak English, because since we both understand English, because if I teach them Yoruba then they're speaking Yoruba to me, then the father will not understand the Yoruba that's speaking to me. Then if you understand Urobo, then I won't understand the Urobo that's speaking to their father. So you know what, let them just speak English. Let's just make life easy for ourselves. You see, we cannot just confuse ourselves. So basically forget that. Basically the fact is that we're not like at times we just think, oh, what language do I even speak to them? Like I'm like, oh, I want them to actually like know a little bit of, like, I let them know like a tribe, right? Like maybe either Yoruba, I mean different, but let them just know. If I prefer if they can actually understand it too, but I'm like, hope it's not good. I hope it's not going to be too much. But basically that's it. We have to just think about, okay, what are they going to learn? My husband can never speak Yoruba very well. I can speak Yoruba, and I'm like, okay, so maybe they will learn Yoruba, then bits of Yoruba, I don't know, but basically then number three is names. Yeah, names. When it gets to them, I'm like, okay, so what are we going to name the child? Then they will not bring one name, then the name will not be sounding very long like Greek, like I can't even pronounce the name. And I'm like, okay, so if you name this child this name, how will I pronounce it as the mother? And they bring my own name, like Yoruba name, and it's so long. I'm also feeling like this name is so long, like how can we make it shorter? Like basically, because Yoruba names lately they're like sentence. Bien Oluwadarapo, mommy, like very long names. So we just conclude, you know what, let's just stick to English name, the name that both of us can relate with. Then they will have other names as well as Yoruba and Urobo, which was what we did. Settled, right? Then the next one will be difference in our food, right? So for Ekiti, our food, our native food, or the food that is known with Ekiti people is pounded yam and egusi. While for Urobo, I think it's a stash and owo soup or banga soup. Actually, I actually learned how to make banga. I think I can make banga, right? But that owo soup, God is our strength. And stash, God is our strength. Basically, I think we have to be buying it outside. Because like I feel like because we have those, I tasted stash and I didn't really enjoy it. I felt like it was just drawing, like I felt like it was like chewing gum. But for my husband, he enjoyed it, like, because that's his own food and that's not my own kind of food. So I didn't enjoy it basically. Even banga, I just started enjoying banga, and I enjoy banga when it's well spiced, like when I put it, like when it's pepperish, because Yoruba now, what do you expect? Pepper. So I like when it has like a bit of pepper in it, right? But when I taste it doesn't have any pepper, I feel I don't enjoy it that way, okay? So I feel like that's another thing, is the fact that we have different food tradition. But the fact now we're in generation where you can even eat any food. Me, I can even eat, I take anything basically now. But that's one that I pick, right? So that's it. The next one is going to be dressing. Yeah, yes. So you know, Urhobo people, like how we dress in Urhobo Delta State is you're going to wear, a man with tie wrapper and wear lace. I don't know what that thing is called. I think it's lace. That then they wear cap and all the stuff and all that. That's the way they dress for the males. And the females also wear, they tie George wrapper, and there's a lace you wear, and you tie your paper gele, right? But Yoruba land, we wear ashoke or lace, just so gown or so up and down. There are many styles now to it that you can actually do. So basically, I feel like though we're not really the native, dressing in native kind of people, right? But the fact is that if we have the occasion to go for, I have to actually tie those double gele. Like they tie the first one, tie the second one. I can remember when I had to go for a wedding, and like Delta wedding, right? I had to tie the two gele and the two George, right? The double wrapper. I had to tie the double wrapper, then wear the lace, then tie gele, like the whole dressing and all that. And I'm like, this is not just me. This is too much. This is too much. Like, it's not just something that it's not a go-to thing for me. Number one, I'm not a fan of wrapper. Yoruba people also tie wrapper as well, but the fact is that as young people, like, you also have the option of not actually tying that wrapper. You can actually go for a normal gown, like go for a lace and just sew a gown with it, or even show skirt and blouse. There are different styles now that you can actually, like for Yoruba, you can actually wear. But for Urhobo, that's actually their known signature. That's the way they dress for traditional occasions, okay? So we have that our differences in that aspect as well. Then the next one is going to be tradition. You guys know, Yoruba people, we respect that. We can greet for Africa. Like, we can greet eku this, eku that, eku this. We can greet, But Urhobo people, it's so easy. Like, what they have to say is me go for another person, and just like it's just one greeting basically, and do sorry or something like. But Yoruba, you have to echo everything. You greet for every goddamn thing. Like, you can greet a lot. So imagine, and that thing again is you kneeling down and prostrating and all that. So ideally, when you see, when like the fact that my husband sees my parents, ideally you're supposed to actually like try to prostrate to greet them, but is not used to that, and I don't think I can force him to start prostrating to greet my parents, or no. So the way he greets is just that greeting, like good afternoon, and so I'm trying to hug them, right? And which is something that normally Yoruba, no, how can you hug? How dare you want to hug your parents? Why? No. It's something that ideally you're not supposed to do. But another thing again that is now, this generation is now getting easier. Like, it's not as bad as it used to be then, when you have to roll on the floor as if you're worshiping a god to greet your parents. So it's not as bad as that. And that thing I'm going to also talk about under tradition is that the drinking aspect. Like for Urhobo, I know that when I have my people around, you have to get like drink. There's a way they do like a form of prayer as a tradition thing. Like, you get drink and get some money, and they use it to pray for you and all that. Yoruba people will just pray. You don't have to put any drink. They can bombard you with prayer directly. There's no need for drink or whatever, you know. So you know that now they are known for the drinking. The tradition thing actually is very, very broad, because if I talk about even the normal things they're supposed to do, like Yoruba now, maybe as the woman, for instance, if you get to Yoruba family, you're supposed to do many things. Like do many things like respect the younger ones. Yoruba side now, the younger ones, you're supposed to like be calling them, oh, auntie something, brother something. Like, even those that in fact you can give birth to, you'll be respecting them because they're your in-laws. You'll be calling them auntie something, brother something, small children. But for Urhobo, it's actually not like that. Yoruba is like that. Like, as I said, respect is too much. So that one will still fall under tradition, where you have to actually be calling young children Auntie Biola, Auntie Toyin, Auntie like small children, and them elderly must the same thing. Like you just have to respect everybody from that family. Like call them by auntie, brother, even the newborn baby, auntie, brother. So that's for Yoruba, but for Yoruba it's not like that. You just respect your elders. Basically, you don't have to call the small children in the house auntie, uncle, auntie, brother, and sister. But no, you don't have to. Just respect is reciprocal. It's just straightforward, right? So those are the things I feel like is the reality and somewhat challenging for intertribal marriage, right? And anyways, if you are into like a intertribal marriage as well, maybe you're married someone from another tribe or ethnic group or whatever, come to the comment section and let's have a chit chat about it. So this has brought me to the end of this video. Don't forget to subscribe. It's actually free. Trust me, it's free. Like and share and click on that notification bell so every time I post a video you'll be the first to know. Thanks for watching to the end, guys, and see you guys in the next one. Bye.